Hey, what's up? It's Frano here. It's been a few weeks since I've made a video. And it's the crack of dawn here in East Midlands. So I'm just going to have a little walk and a little bit of a reflection on some inner standings I've made. Just going to get a little bit of a distance from the annoying noise of the Matrix sweeping machine there. See some people outside the church. I don't actually know what time it is, to be fair, but I know that it's early in the morning. By the sky, probably around 5-6 in the morning. This looks like a good spot, so I'm going to continue with my personal vlog here. So yeah, good morning. I decided to go outside because I sensed annoyance from some close-knit neighbours, so I didn't want to make any noise inside my apartment. Speaking of noise, this is how the Matrix works. People listen and wait, and when they have their opportunity to respond, they do. But it's nothing more than a man just doing his job, which is collecting rubbish, because if we don't collect rubbish, it builds up. And I actually had a recent understanding, I thought about that. Obviously we need to get rid of rubbish on the streets and bin bags and all that, but we do the same thing with bodies, which is quite an immense thought to have, that we actually have to tidy up corpses because they're physical and they decompose. Which brings me to my first point. So I was dreaming. I'll talk about the whole adventure and process of the dream soon, but first, one of the points that came up in my dream was a manifestation of a small dog, which was tiny. At one point it was maybe like this big, like this tiny little dog. It was like a toy, and it got lost in like a corner of like a road thing, and there was like loads of insects and spider webs and shit, and they were like eating this small dog, which was, I actually found out, was like a representation of a part of myself. And also when I woke up, I realized that there were like insects and bugs and like bed bugs or like some kind of insects like on me. So like the small dog that was in my dream, although I was like walking down the road having a human experience with another human, the small dog was actually like part of my head telling me that there's a small dog within us all which is like dirty and wants to be fed, and actually this dog's being fed on. So there's a bit of a thought for you there. So yeah, like as I was saying, like there's bin men that collect bins, and we have to also churn through like corpses, which is quite a morose thing to think about, but we decompose, and the opposite of decomposing is composing, which is creatively doing things on the earth. So you have to often like stop and say like, am I actually decomposing or am I composing? So like obviously this is a personal thing as a composer of music, which I am, and like, but basically every day in life you need to kind of put your best foot forward, create and compose. And like they say, meditation and practices like that, mindfulness, they're actually like the opposite of cell death occurs within you. So as within, so without. And if you can promote healing and the opposite of death, obviously that's like life, that's creating, composing, as opposed to decomposing. It also involves staying physically clean as well, which is like showering. I probably should have had like a shower yesterday and stuff, but that's a personal thing. But yeah, we need to keep mentally clean, physically clean, and spiritually clean. And a good quote is something along the lines of, each day you should clothe yourself with heaven and bring it upon earth. So you need to clothe yourself in like purity. So that can take the physical form of like maybe putting on a certain coloured t-shirt, or when you're putting your clothes on, it's part of a physical ritual that you do every morning or whenever you wake up. And basically this is gonna become like a spiritual cleaning and a mental cleaning as well as physical, because we are ritualistic beings, and when we do things in the physical, they often help enhance the three elements of the Trinity that we're living in. And it's no secret that we're living in physical, mental and spiritual times, and we can enhance our lives to connect more with either one or all three or two, or perhaps just perhaps not believe in it at all, but either way we can enhance and change our existences to cater for what I'm going to say is like the Trinity, because that's the easiest way to describe it, what it is. So yeah, basically I've got an ongoing thought since I've been to New York City and Manhattan, and this is like a sense of interconnectedness, which is like you can only really get in a really busy city that never sleeps. And it's the equivalent of New York City. It never sleeps, and it doesn't care about the single individual. It's part of a universal ongoing movement, and it's the same thing as a computer. So when you use a computer, it doesn't think. It does think, that's all it really does, but it doesn't have emotions until you put emotions into it. So the internet and computers, they don't actually have, there's a church buzz, they don't have anything until you begin to put emotion into it. At the end of the day, they're only doing what you want to do through it. So when people say, is technology good or bad? You should already know the answer to that question instantly. The technology is neither good or bad, and it's only necessary and serving what you are, human. It's only secondary to what we are. So, yeah, there's different technologies that have different, things and used in different ways, but at the end of the day, there is no good or bad, because there's no conscious in technology. It's just something that we've created to enhance, and we can put our own emotional tags with that if we want to. But yeah, so like New York City, it's like a universal kind of state, because it's almost the equivalent of like a black whale and a white whale, yin and yang, and they're swimming together. They're swimming in the sea together, ongoing, and there'll be times where they eat. There'll be times like where they're in a sense of like stasis and rest, and they're not like, I just got a dude that was interested, probably just starting his day of work, taking a photo of me there, which is quite interesting. But no, that's just life. Like, people like to take photos these days, stuff like that. Like, you see, I was watching this guy on YouTube that's like social experimentalist, and he goes into the like city centre in England and stuff, and he just exercises human rights and speech, and then police get involved, people start to take photos. It's kind of just the way the Matrix works. People like to take something home with them, and that's photographs, and like digital photographs now, so that's cool. But no, Yeah, it's like a white whale and a black whale, and they're ongoing. So it's yin and yang. And sometimes, yeah, there's more people that are asleep in New York and more people that are awake, because we naturally tend to get up in the morning. But at the end of the day, there's people that all parts of the day that revolve in like around different time zones and that. And like obviously in a smaller city like Leicester, you get people getting up really early as well. But not New York, like Manhattan, it truly never sleeps. So you have this ongoing like metaphor here of yin and yang that are just, sometimes the whales are more restful, sometimes the whales are eating more, but they keep going. Sometimes maybe the white whale is ahead of the black whale, which means there's more good going on than bad. Sometimes there's more bad going on than good, and this is just kind of like an ongoing symbiotic thing. And it's not really dependent necessarily on human energy either, but I would say that New York City being filled with humans is, human energy is the most, you get psychic energy which works through human energy there, but it is the most prominent force there. So obviously there's chaos energy because there's so much diversity, and that's the downfall of having around the clock kind of culture, that there is a lot of clashing, which can form like selfishness, and you can walk down the street on any given day and never see the same people again, which can actually obviously create isolation. Well, people can see that as, I see millions of people all the time, but I don't truly know them. But there's no excuse for that when you can just go to the same coffee shop and start to liaise and talk and get a rapport with people. So it's enough about New York City and like London, which is quite similar, but I've been to them both. It's actually a privilege to be in some of the busiest cities in the world, because you get to get a diverse snippet of human nature there, and what kind of conditions that we can live under. That's 12 minutes. I'm not going to talk too much about the dreams, but I was just thinking on the thought. Basically, you can seek meditation and spirituality, but it'll always come to you when you need it to. So like, instead of meditating for like an hour yesterday, if you can see just there's actually a meditation center. But that's kind of like not the point, but there is a meditation center there. So I'm running out of battery here, 13 minutes in. I'm just gonna say, my thought was, even if you don't want to meditate and connect with spirit that way, your dreams will become, like, your dreams will be a connection to spirit anyway. So with fasting and dreaming, you can still connect to spirit. So high vibes, peace in and out, with love on my high vibration and full gratitude. It's Frano, over and out.